let's start with the prayer for the state of Israel, and I'll share the screen. You can read it on the screen, or you can find it in your Siddur. You'll find it in the Torah service. Avinu Shebashamayim Tzur Yisrael Vegoalo Barech et Medinat Yisrael Reshit Tzmichat Geulatenu Hagen Aleha Be'evrat Chasdecha Ufros Aleha Sukat Shalomecha Ushalach Orcha Va'amitecha Lerasheha Sareha Ve'yoatzeha Vitaknem Be'etza Tova Milfanecha Chazek et Yedei Meginei Eretz Kodshenu V'hanchilem Eloheinu Yeshua Va'ateret Nitzachon Te'atrem V'natata Shalom Ba'aretz V'simchat Olam Leyosheveha V'nomar Amen. Okay.
Sukkot, is that the same as Sukkot or?
Yeah.
And what does it mean there?
Shelter. It's a shelter. A shelter
Oh,
protection
okay.
around us.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, you're right. You caught that word. That's good. Okay. We're going to chant Alinu together. That's a review of the last prayer that we did. I have it on the screen, but if you have a Siddur, it's probably better to find it in the Siddur. You're going to find it at the very end of the Shacharit service, or at the end of any service. In Lev Shalom, this red book, it's on page 205. And I think the other book we're using is this one. Does somebody have this book? That one, okay. I'll find it in that book. I got it. And it is on page 183. And this one. Okay. We're not going to stand. We're doing it as study. We're going to sing it, but we're only going to do those verses that are in the textbook. Okay. Aleinu lishab
Leah, Adam, Hakol, Latei, Gedula,
la leotzer bereshit shelo asanu kigoye ha'aratzot velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama shelo sam chelkenu kahem vegoralenu kechol hamonam va'anachnu korim משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך hu. And we're going to go to the last sentence in this first paragraph that begins with the word viyadata. Everybody got it? Viyadata? No? Just like nod if you've got the last verse of
What's the word there in it?
the Viyadata. It comes right after kakatu b'torato. Viyadata.
Oh,
See it?
yes.
Okay, good. Okay, we're going to read this one. Viyadata ayom. Oh, hold on a second, sorry. All right, here we go. Let's start again. Viyadata ayom vahashevota el livavecha. Ki Adonai hu ha-Elohim bashamayim mima'al va'al ha'aretz mitachat ein od. Okay, now we're going to go to the very end of the prayer, the last sentence that begins with the word v'ne'emar. Everybody nod when you have found it in the book. Okay, here we go. Now this we can sing. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom ha'hu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. In my synagogue, they do very fancy harmonies at the end there, but we'll not do that today. Okay, any questions about Aleinu? Anything in Aleinu? Okay. All right. We're going to take a short break here and we're going to take a look at our calendar. We'll have class next week. That'll be April 3rd. The following week is April 10th. That's Thursday before Passover begins. Passover, the first Seder is Saturday night. However, because it's Shabbat, we have to be prepared for Passover by Friday. So my question to you is, would you rather skip the 10th of April, which is the prep week, or the 17th of April, which is Chol Hamoed in the middle of the holiday? We'll take a vote. What do you think? I mean, you can express an opinion
Is
too.
the 17th the include the last 2 days when you go to shul sometimes?
No,
Oh,
it's Chol Hamoed. It's the middle of it's the intermediate days of the holiday.
okay.
Yeah, the holiday begins on Saturday night. It's going to end on a Saturday, Sunday.
Thank you.
I vote prep week.
Prep week. Prep week. Prep week.
Yeah, I guess,
Everybody's shaking their head yes for prep. Okay, so so after the 3rd, we'll miss a week and then we'll meet again on the 17th. And then we can talk about how we did at our Seders. All right. We're going to take a look at the geography of the Seder. Not the Seder, sorry, of the Siddur. same word. It's the same word.
Order.
And so I
Order.
was looking at my plan and I said, oh, yeah, okay, we're not gonna look at the geography of the Seder. We'll do that in a different class. We're going to look at the geography of the Siddur. Because in order to appreciate all the procedures that are going on in the synagogue, we have to be kind of oriented in how this book is created and what is this order that it's following. Now, our textbook is going to cover some, but not all of the prayers in a Siddur. And you've already noticed that it's not covering the prayers in the order that they occur, because we started with Ein Keloheinu and then Aleinu, very end of the service. And the next prayer that we're going to be doing is Adon Olam, also the very end of the service. So he just, this is how he chose to write the book, which is fine. But we're going to kind of go over what is what's involved in the service. And so I'm going to share my screen. This is page 23 in your textbook. Nope, that's Elaine. Sorry. Here we go. All right. Let me get you all back on my screen. Okay. So he's looking at the Shabbat morning service in this book. And we have three major portions of the Shabbat morning service. We have Shacharit, we have the Torah service, and we have Musaf. And Shacharit is divided into different portions as well. So we have within Shacharit, trying to, if you've got a Siddur, does anyone have the regular Sim Shalom Siddur? The big, that's the Shabbat, that one's for Shabbat and holidays. Anybody using this one? Let me go down and see more photos. Is anybody using this book? No, okay. Then if you're using Lev Shalem, page 99 begins the morning prayers for Shacharit. And in Sim Shalom for Shabbat and holidays, it's page 61. So this very first portion of the Shacharit service is Birchot HaShachar, these blessings for early morning. He calls them dawn blessings. Okay, and it begins with a list of blessings. The second part of the okay, these introductory prayers, there are two parts of them. So we have first these Birchot HaShachar, and then we have Psukei de Zimra. These are verses of song, psalms. This is where the song of this at the sea is. In Lev Shalom, it begins on page 122, and in Sim Shalom for Shabbat, it's on page 83. This is where we sing the song of the sea, and we sing psalms. This is kind of my favorite part of the service. Some synagogues skip these parts, and start right at the portion right before the Shemonet's blessings of this in the morning. But some synagogues do the full reading of Birchot HaShachar and Psukei de Zimra. Apparently, in the past, in history, people, when this is how you prepare yourself to pray. And so people, as they were walking to shul, would recite these prayers as they were walking. But they're in the Siddur, and this is the very first part of the Shachrit service. Okay, let me stop sharing for just a second here. In your community, what do they do with these introductory prayers? Do they sing them? Do they do them, or are you not there on time to hear them?
That's me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's most people. I think the synagogues are lucky if they have a minyan at the beginning of the service like that. And in many synagogues, especially since COVID, since doing all the services online, I think a lot of congregations shortened this introductory portion of their service. And they do some of them. One of the prayers that you will find in this beginning portion is Ashrei. Okay,
Yeah.
and Ashrei is going to show up again in the Torah service. But you'll find Ashrei at the very beginning of the service. We actually say Ashrei 3 times a day. It's done again at Mincha, the afternoon service. But we're just going to look at Shabbat now. So let me share the screen again so we can go to the next part of this. Okay. So after we do these introductory prayers, we get to the main prayers of the service. And the first part that we get to is the Shema and its blessings. So in Lev Shalem, you're going to find this very first part beginning on page 149, and in the Sim Shalom for Shabbat on page 107.
Is this still part of Shacharit?
We are still in Shacharit.
And what page in Simsal?
In Sim Shalom, wait, I just lost it. 107.
Okay.
107. The first prayer you're going to see there is the Baruch Hu. Right? Is that on your first page?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. The Baruch Hu is, we're going to come back to this. That's your call to worship. It's sort of like, it's a call and response. And so it's like, imagine somebody in the synagogue, like opening the window and calling out, Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvarach, and then the people on the street answer back, Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. And then they come inside because that's, come on in now, we're ready to pray. And that's actually what we do. Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvarach, Baruch Adonai Hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Okay, now we're going to see this again in the Torah service, but we'll wait till we get to that part that we're going to study to find it, to find this Baruch Hu again. All right. So we have the Baruch Hu, we have then prayers leading up to the Shema and prayers following the Shema. And then we get to the fourth part of the Amidah, of the Shacharit, which is the Amidah. That's the standing prayer, also called Shemona Esrei. It's a silent devotion. And you'll find the Amidah in Lev Shalem on page 159 and in Sim Shalom on 115a and b. So in the Sim Shalom, we have 2 separate pages for one for the traditional patriarchs, and then the second page, which includes the matriarchs. In Lev Shalem, it's on one page. Okay. All right. Now, section 2 of our service on Saturday morning. Well, first of all, does anybody have any questions?
Yes, but it's rhetorical. Why is it that we have to say the same prayers over and over again in the service? I mean, if you know, I'm looking at these pages and it's exactly the same what we say in the Torah service, so I don't understand why, but I'm sure it's tradition, but it seems like overkill to me, but
Oh, you mean when I said the Baruch Hu?
yeah,
You,
it's,
you'll see when we get to the Torah, when we actually are studying the Torah service, when we're going through it, we're
uh-huh,
going to be looking at the Torah blessings that we say before
mhm.
and after. And that's where we're going to see something and we're going to talk about it. So let's wait. I'm gonna keep you in suspense of why we do this twice, why you're gonna see it happen a second time. Okay? Do you mind if I keep you in suspense? Okay. Because I promise we will talk about why this is happening. It is interesting, though, that we repeat everything, but that's how we pray. That's how we work. When we're reading from the Torah, we read it all the way through in a year, and then we start it over again. And we do the same thing with our prayers. We read them. We do an Amidah in Shachrit. We're going to do an Amidah in Musaf. We do an Amidah in Mincha, and we do an Amidah again in Mariv. And we keep repeating these prayers with slight differences for the time of day, but basically the same over and over and over again. And what we need to do as we're reciting these prayers, look at the meaning of it, read the meaning. Every time we read from the Torah, every time we read that Parsha Breshit, we read that Parsha, all of them. We keep reading them every year. And I guarantee that your rabbi is not giving the exact same sermon or Devar Torah or study session every time he talks about or she talks about that same prayer, that same parsha. And it's the same with the prayers. So as we read them, and what's nice about a silent devotion is that you don't have to go at anybody else's speed. You can read what you want to read. If you are fortunate enough to have a copy of that red Lev Shalem, you'll know that in the margins, not only are there explanations of the prayers, but there are also interpretive prayers. So somebody may have written a poem or something that has the same kind of meaning as the prayer. So every time we read these prayers that we're repeating over and over again, and on Saturday morning, to Amidot, um, every time we read them, we're supposed to read them with kavanah, with intent, and look for a new meaning every time we do it. But you're right, we keep repeating these things over and over and over again. Okay. Anything else about this first portion of the Shachrit service? Okay. All right, then the second part of the service on Shabbat morning is the Torah service. The Torah service has a lot of drama in it. If you'll notice when during the Torah service we start seated. We're sitting and then we stand, and that's when the ark is opened. It's theatrical. We're reminding ourselves of receiving the Torah on Mount Sinai. We remind ourselves of this, and we do it every week. The procedure in our synagogues doesn't really change a whole lot. I mean, if there's a bar mitzvah, I know there's something different going on. If there's something, some other kind of celebration, there's something a little bit different going on. But the basics of taking out the Torah really are the same every week. And yet there's still this drama. There's still, when that ark is open and you're singing about receiving the Torah. There's some drama there. So the first part of the Torah service, now the Torah service technically is part of Shacharit. Okay? It's the second section of the service and we separate it, but technically the Torah service is part of Shacharit. And you'll notice that after the Amidah, there is a full Kaddish. And then after we finish with the Torah service, before we go to the next section, Musaf, there'll be a Chatzi Kaddish, a short Kaddish. And on we're not talking about holidays right now. And holidays between the Amidah and the Torah service, that's where Hallel is said. But regular Shabbat, we go to the Torah service. 3 parts of the Torah service, we take the Torah out of the ark, we read from the Torah, and then we return it to the ark. And there's a procession. Everybody has a chance to touch the Torah as it's moving around the synagogue. I know a lot of that changed during COVID and people didn't touch anything, but I think most synagogues are back to walking that Torah around so that people have a chance to touch it. Okay, that's our Torah service. So you'll find the Torah service in Lev Shalem on page 159. No, that's not right because Lev 159 was for the Amidah.
The Sim Shalom, it's 139.
Sim Shalom is 139.
In Lev, it's 171.
Okay, so there you go. There it is. 171 and 139 in the Sim Shalom. Okay. All right. And then our final portion of the service is the section 3 is Musaf. This is an additional service that we do on in Lev Shalem, it's on 176, and in Sim Shalom 148. And it includes an Amidah, and then all those concluding hymns that we are learning about right now. In Kelohenu, Aleinu, and Adon Olam.
Excuse me, Barbara, what is it again for Lev Shalom and holidays? Which page? Musaf?
Lev Shalem, Musaf is it should be on page 176.
Okay, thanks.
And Sim Shalom 148.
So like prayers for congregation, community, and so on?
Hold on. I need to take out my Siddur. I'm looking at my.
It's 155 and this one.
In Lev Shalem,
155.
Lev Shalem 185. Sorry, 185. I had it just wasn't written down properly.
No, it's good. I'm paying attention.
185. And in the Sim Shalom, Musaf is on page.
It's 155.
Okay, 155.
Yeah.
156. 156 A and B.
Okay.
Musaf actually begins with, that's a Chatzi Kaddish, you're right. The Amidah is on the next page. Okay. And in Lev Shalem, the Chatzi Kaddish is on the page before. Okay. What's interesting here is that in Shacharit, in the first part, and in Musaf, we are talking to God. We're praying, we're talking to God. When we're in the Torah service, that's God talking to us. Okay, I'm going to stop the share. Any questions? So we have an idea of how this service flows in on Shabbat morning. All right, if you have no questions, we are going to go to Adon Olam. So find Adon, oh, wait, Julie, you have your hand up. No? Okay. All
Sorry.
right. That's okay. Find Adon Olam in your Siddur. You're going to go to the end of the service, and it's going to follow the mourner's Kaddish on Shabbat morning. So we were just at the Musaf service, which was like, it started on page 185 or something, and on page 156. Go to the end of the Musaf service. If you find another Musaf service, because you might find one in your Siddur that's for Rosh Chodesh, especially if you're using Lav Shalem. I don't remember what the other, but we want to go past that. We want to get to the end of the service. So you'll see Ein Kelohenu, you'll see Aleinu, you'll see the mourner's Kaddish, and Adon Olam is the very last thing that we do in the service. Okay, if you're in Lev Shalem, you should be on page 211. And I think the page is 187 for Sim Shalom. But you'll have to, if you're using the book, you'll have to tell me if I'm right.
Yes.
Okay. Then we are going to read Adon Olam together. Now, I don't remember. I have to look at this other book. I just want to make sure. In okay, in both of these Sidurim, they have written in transliteration. So cover up your transliteration. We're going to read the Hebrew. If you've got transliteration in your book, just put your hand over it or something. Now, I'm also going to give you a hint. When you're reading, go ahead and use your finger to point to each word. It'll keep you on track, especially in the service, but it's actually the traditional way that we read when we're reading in Hebrew. When you read from the Torah, you always point to the word you're reading. We don't use our finger because that would mess up the ink and we'd get oil and stuff on from our hands onto the Torah scroll, but we use a yod. So we have an extension of our hand. I used to have my students just go ahead and use their pen, like the eraser part of their pencil, so they didn't write all over their books. But you can just use your finger. So we're going to read this. It's more difficult to read it than it is to sing it. So here we go. Adon Olam Asher Malach Beterem Kol Yitzir Nivra Le'et Naasa Vechefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Vehu Haya Vehu Hoveh Vehu Yihye Betifara. Vehu echad, ve'ein sheni, lehamshil lo, lehach bira. Beli reshit, beli tachlit, velo ha'oz vehamisra. Vehu Eli vechai goali vetzur chevli be'et tzara. Vehu nisi umanos li minat kosi biyom ekra. Biyado ruch. I'm sorry. Afkid ruchi be'et ishan ve'aira ve'im ruchi giviyati Adonai li velo ira. Okay, how was that? Okay, this is a prayer you're familiar with, so the words aren't going to be as difficult to read because you're familiar with it, but you have to make sure that the words that you're used to hearing are the same as the words that are written on the page, because what we hear isn't always exactly the same as what we read. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. We're going to go to the to page 25 in the textbook, and this is just letting you know that in your textbook on page 103, he begins to give you vocabulary, and so these are words, these are vocabulary that these are words we're going to see and hear in Jewish life, not necessarily in the prayers, but some of them you'll find in the prayers. So you'll see here the words that came from the that we were using when we were looking at the geography of the textbook. So Shacharit, the first service in the morning, that he calls it early service. Musaf is the additional service. Brachot, blessings. These are words that we use in conversation. Okay, we're going on now. That's Adon Olam. Okay, here we have Adon Olam. I'm going to give you each a chance to read on your own by yourself. So we've done this. We did this once before. We're going to do it again. I just have to watch my time because I lost my clock at the top of my screen when I shared the screen. I'm going to read the first verse in English, and then one of you will read it in Hebrew. But we're going to start with the first verse. We'll all read it together. So he is the Lord of the universe who reigned before any being was created. And then we're going to read line 1 together. Adon Olam Asher Malach Beterem Kol Yitzir Nivra. Okay, and now we're going to go in the order that you're on my screen. So Amy, you're going to read line 2 in Hebrew. Okay, wait, I'm going to read it in English first and then
Okay,
read it in Hebrew. All right.
yeah.
At the time when all was made by his will, he was acknowledged as the king.
Barbara,
Mhm.
what page is it in the textbook?
In the textbook, we're on page
Yeah.
25.
I'm gonna read.
25 in the textbook.
Is
Mhm.
that, and that's where we're reading from?
Yeah, and it's on the screen as well.
Mhm.
But it doesn't seem to match up with the screen. With what I saw on the screen. Is this part one God in the universe?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
oh, you're right. You're there. You don't see it? Can you?
No, I see it now, but it just
Okay.
didn't look the same to me.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay, Amy, go ahead.
Le'et na'asa behefso kol azah melech shemo nikra.
Good, okay, we're on line 3 now. Julia, at the end, when all shall cease to be, God alone will awesomely reign.
Viatare.
Look at it again. Look really carefully at the third letter.
I'm trying to see here. Viaha.
Mhm.
Viachare. Viachara.
No, you were right the first time. The Ahare. Keep going.
Okay, I'm having a little trouble just seeing, but
I
okay.
know, it's a little hard to see. but-
No, that's fine. Okay. Viachare. Ki lot
Mhm.
hakol levado yim loch no ra.
Excellent, very nice. Okay, Susan, you're next, line 4. He was, he is, and he shall be in eternal splendor.
Vihu haya. Vihu hoe. Vihu.
Stop a minute. Okay, we've got a letter there that's a little bit confusing. So let me just tell you the rule. Every letter gets one vowel only. So on this vav that's there, that's sitting in the middle of this word right here,
Okay.
the dot on the top of the vav is for the hey.
Okay,
The
so
goal-
hold that.
So you have to give that vav a sound. So the first sound, the O goes with the hey. So you have ho, and then you're going to need to give that vav a sound with its vowel.
That.
Right. Try that word again.
Hold that.
Perfect. Okay, so that's just, the rule is one vowel per letter. And so when something like this happens, where you've got this, it looks like this letter has two vowels, the dot at the top is for the first letter, and then the vowel underneath it is for the vav itself. And that vav becomes it gets sounded out with that V sound. So after Hovel, okay, keep going.
Okay. Hold that.
Mhm.
Vihu. That's not Adonai.
No, it's not.
Vihu Ye. Yeah. Ye. Yeah.
Mhm.
I have a lot of trouble with that word.
Yeah, give the hey a sound. Ye, he, yeah, yeah.
Yehia. Okay. Yehia.
Yeah, it's fine. Keep going.
Betifara.
Very nice, beautiful. Okay, we're on line 5. Kathy, it's your turn. He is
Okay.
one, and there is no other to compare to him or join with him.
Okay. The who,
Mhm.
Echar, Reich,
The next letter isn't a resh. The next letter is a
oh,
vowel.
Ve'esh. Right? Is it
What's the
Ve'esh?
what's the final letter here?
Can't.
Okay, that's
I
a,
want it to be. I want it to
it's
be a
not a
shin.
shin. It's not a shin. It's the shin, here's the shin, wait, the shin's right next to it. There's your
Ve'ek.
the ain, that's a nun,
Ve'ein.
a nun, a final nun. Mhm,
Okay. Ve'ein. Ain. Ve'ein.
mhm. There's your shin.
Shvi.
Yes.
Shvi.
Shin,
Shavi.
no, no, look at it carefully. It looks,
Shani.
yeah, it looks
Shani.
like it looks the same as a vav, except that it's got that little foot on it.
Right.
It's not that easy to see. Um, when Julia was reading before, this chet it's not real clear, and here's the tav. See the little foot at the end. So you have to be looking for these really little things. Um, yeah, and so that's the difference. You can see the little foot there on that nun. That's not there on the vav. Okay, so Shani. Okay, next word.
Okay. Leham. Leham. Shil.
Hmm.
Lo. Leha. Lehach.
Hmm.
Be. Rat.
Nothing at the end. It's a hey and it's silent.
Be rat.
Uh-huh.
Be rat.
Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, we're on line 6. Terry. He is without beginning, without end. Might and mastery belong to him.
Okay. Line 6.
Mhm.
Beli. Rush. Sheet. Ku. Lay.
Look carefully at this. It's hard to see.
Beli.
Yeah.
Beli.
Yeah.
Top. Leat. Low. Leat. Top
Mhm.
leat.
Mhm.
Below. Hot. O's. For. Ham. Faham. Shrew. Saru.
Right. So, but it's an ah at the bottom of the under the resh. Amis.
Faham. Sirah.
Ra. Yeah. Good. Okay. You see when you're reading through, and this isn't really clear. It's better if you can look at it directly in the book. But this bet, especially this one right here, looks awfully like this chaf. It just looks an awful lot like it. So you just got to train your eyes to see that. Okay, we're going to read the rest of it together. All right, here we go. He is my rock, my God, my living redeemer, the rock of my destiny in times of distress. Vehu Eli Vechai Goali Vetzur Chevli Be'et Tzara. He's my banner and my refuge, my cup of bliss the day I call. Vehu Nisi Umanos Li Minat Kosi Beyom Ekra. The letter Samach, like we hardly ever see it, and now here it is 3 times in one line in Adon Olam. Nisi, Manos, Kosi. Line 9, in his hand I entrust my soul when I sleep and when I wake. Biyado afkid ruchi be'et ishan ve'a'ira. As long as my soul is with my body, the Lord is with me, I shall not fear. Ve'im ruchi giviyati Adonai li velo ira. Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
I hope it's easy. All of the verses start with the, which doesn't that mean and?
Mhm.
Yes, that's not in the translation. They just keep saying, He is my God, He is my banner, but it's
Yeah.
the who.
Uh-huh.
Is that and? They're just not
It's the end.
addressing it. Okay,
They're just not, um, these aren't translations, they're interpretations.
okay.
It's the same as when you watch an American Sign Language interpreter, they're called interpreters. They're not called translators. They're called interpreters because they're interpreting the language and passing it on. So that's pretty much what you're getting with a translation in the Siddur. You're getting whoever did it, whoever wrote the English part, interpreted it. And they left out, yeah, you're right. It has v. It's really long sentence. Your English teacher wouldn't allow you to write like that. Any other questions?
Thank you.
We're going to talk more about this prayer next week. We're going to take a look at some of the vocabulary. We're going to take a look at, you'll notice in your textbook that he has it divided into two parts.
Mhm.
So we're going to take a look at that. Why did he divide it like that in two parts? It's not in two parts. You can't see it when you look in your Siddur. You don't see those two parts. But we're going to talk about why that is. You'll figure it out because we're going to talk about that vocabulary and the grammar that's in there. Okay, we're going to sing Hatikva, and let's go back. Here's Hatikva. And is there anybody who would like to lead us in Hatikva today? Oh, now I can't see you though. So if you want to, you're gonna have to shout it out. I don't hear anybody. So, okay, here we go. Kol od balevav penima nefesh Yehudi homia ulafa'ate mizrach kadima ayin letzion tofia od lo Hatikvatenu, Hatikva bat shnot alpayim, liotam chofshi be'artzenu, Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim, liotam chofshi be'artzenu, Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim. Okay. Any questions? Okay, then. We will meet again next week, and we will and then we'll skip a week, and everybody will get ready for Pesach. And
Thanks for another great class.
thanks. I wish you all a wonderful Shabbat. I probably will not send you an update until next Tuesday because my grandson is going to become a bar mitzvah this weekend.
Oh, Mazel Tov.
Mazel
Thank you.
tov.
Thank
Wow.
So, my family's starting to come into town today. If I can get back to my computer, I will send something out. But this room that I'm in is actually going to be used. Um, so I probably will not send anything out until next Tuesday. So if you need to, usually she gets the recording up by Friday. If you see that the recording isn't there on tomorrow, if you want to look at the recording from today's session, just let me know and I'll contact them.
Enjoy yourselves. Have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
have
you.
a wonderful weekend.
Mazel
Thank
tov
you.
and Simon tov.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're
Mhm.
very excited.
Bye.
Hence my hair finally got cut.
Oh, that's right. Now I get it. Oh, that's so funny.
Everybody, Shabbat Shalom.
Take care.
Shabbat shalom.